Next item, Dr. Fauci and Dr. Gallo. Why do I want to bring these two up? Well, because in particular, they have a history with HIV. Dr. Robert Gallo is credited with discovering the virus. He had to have an international incident where President Ronald Reagan and the French Prime Minister had to fight over whether Luc Montagnier of France or Robert Gallo discovered the HIV virus. Who discovered it? There's stories, but Gallo is definitely very familiar with HIV. What else do we know about Robert Gallo? Just what's reported in the internet. Is it true? It's like the usual thing on the internet. Maybe it's true, maybe it's not. But the stories are that Robert Gallo worked at Fort Detrick, Maryland, which is the U.S. Army Bioweapons Center. And if anyone is going to try and figure out where did HIV come from, Fort Detrick, Maryland is gonna know. And if it's really true that Robert Gallo worked there, is it a really big jump to wonder if Mr. Gallo was the one who put sheep Visna virus together with a feline cat leukemia virus in a test tube and created HIV? Or is it just one of those stories on the back pages of the internet? The probability of HIV arising in green monkeys, as it was told to us in the 1980s, I have no way of knowing. I've never been to Africa and I've never seen an African green monkey. Richard Preston wrote a book called The Hot Zone about the dread disease, the viral disease Ebola, and the other variants of it, Marburg. And we know that there was a version of Ebola in Reston, Virginia, because a bunch of monkeys, so the story goes according to Dr. Preston, a bunch of monkeys were imported into the United States, and apparently the monkeys were carrying this Ebola Reston. Were they carrying it from Africa, or were they being experimented on at some place like Fort Detrick? And then, when the monkeys got this horrible disease, did they want to cover it up by saying, well, it came from Africa? Fort Detrick, Maryland, if it even exists, because I've never been to Fort Detrick, and I've never been. I'm trying to figure it out. I've been to Washington, D.C., and I must have driven through Virginia, and I know Maryland is around there, but I don't know if I drove through Maryland. But I certainly never saw Fort Detrick. But how are we supposed to judge? We really can't judge, but we can certainly wonder. And what would be, there's documents that say that Henry Kissinger, Secretary of State under President Nixon and President Ford, wanted Agenda 21, and he wanted to reduce the population of the African continent because it was a problem. Too much poverty, overpopulation, too much human breeding. And the story is that, they just wanted to Get rid of the problem. Kind of like Adolf Hitler and his final solution for getting rid of the Jewish problem. I mean, it's just conjecture, isn't it? And well, it's more than conjecture because HIV is real. Is Ebola real? Well, do you want to take your chances that it's not real? I mean, in some cases, Ebola is like 99%. You get it, 99% chance or 100% chance you're going to die a horrible death with bleeding out of your ears and your nose and your mouth and your ass and your dick pic. Your flesh melting away. Do you really want to? So what do you want to say to Dr. Gallo? Well, there are videos of Dr. Gallo being asked about these kind of questions that I saw a long time ago. And apparently he says, no, it wasn't me. But there's other scientists that say he's lying, he's full of shit. What are we to make of all this? We all know human nature. We all are imperfect. And in the end, what do you want to do with Dr. Gallo if he did invent HIV? Or Luc Montagnier in France if he invented HIV? The people who invented it, are they the most qualified people for figuring out a solution to protect humanity from their creations, or is it going to be someone else? The U.S. government had this problem at the end of World War II. With the imminent defeat of Nazi Germany, there were unbelievable numbers of very smart German scientists in all fields of endeavor, everything from rocketry, jet engines, to the effects of various substances on humans. The Nazi doctors did unbelievable, horrible medical experiments on people like the Jews in the concentration camps. They would take teenage twins and do studies on them. Unbelievable, horrible, unbelievable, inhumane things that they did to human beings. But the American government has got to figure out, what do you want to do? Kill off these people or bring them on board? Because as disgusting as their medical experiments were, they did experiments that weren't allowed in America, and the information is there, which perhaps at some time might be of benefit to humanity. In the meantime, we have a new enemy in Soviet Union, Russia, who wants to conquer the world with their communist manifesto. And if we don't get these Nazi scientists, the Russians will, and they'll take all of this stuff and they're going to use it against us. So, being between a rock and a hard place, Project Paperclip was created to bring Nazi scientists to the USA. The most famous Nazi scientist is Werner von Braun, who went up the ranks and became the head of NASA, the Space Administration. But that's where he came from, Nazi Germany. And what were his politics when he came to America? Did he continue to hold on to his Nazi philosophies? Or did he become a red-blooded American Democrat or Republican? This is Human History 101.